And when you look at Nigerian populace, the youths, have a larger share of it. And so, but if we have more youths in government, do you think the story will be different?
So, 100%, 100%. I have no doubt. And again, part of the work we do is how do we get more young people into offices, not just because they are young, but because they have a lot to offer, and they will represent the larger population out there, so they can understand the feelings, the yearnings of young people. What, as you were speaking, you said there's been autocratic values, and that culture has entered into governance.
Yes,
even though some of the other people will say no, they're already telling us to shut up now. So, but the truth is, when you have values, you must infuse new values as well. So the current value system of you can't talk, and when I'm talking, I'm the dad, I'm the leader, it was a setting at a point. If that is going to change, you have to infuse new sets of values. Those new sets of values will now, over a period of time, become the new culture. So that culture has existed without a doubt. Don't ask questions, don't this. But what we are doing is now infusing new values into the school system through the books, through the clubs, through all of these things, so that asking questions is no more a rude thing. It's just actually we should know. Okay, you are there because of us, so we actually have a right to ask you. Do you understand? And when the children go on excursions, they see the House of Assembly, they see the local government, they see how these things work, and they understand that this person is there because of us, then they can start asking questions. So those value systems, if we don't change them, will continue to be reinforced as don't ask us questions. We are the leaders, we say everything. But when you start addressing those new values, then new things start to come that no, it's okay to ask questions. Please, in fact, you need to speak up. Your voice matters. You need to have your voice in representation for good equity and equality, for quality decision making. Your voice matters. So I think definitely infusing new values. I think once you have that, more young people will now be inspired to run. They will also have more role models to look up to mentor them, to say it's okay as a young person to come into governance. When I got into governance at 27.
Wow, that's...
but I didn't think I would. If I had drawn my life plan, my time of getting into office would have been 50 years old. So my plan in my mind was I would run my law firm for about 20 years and then join politics. And in that 20 years, I would have been able to build a good network, build the capital, build all of that. That was what I planned because that was what I thought was possible.
Wow.
That was what I had seen. All the politicians I had seen, I didn't know any, but watching the news, they were much older. So, everybody thinks it's impossible until somebody breaks that. So in my mind, that was all I had seen. So I had programmed myself, when I get to 50, I'll go into politics. But the way God did it, I was recommended, I had an interview, I was brought into office at 27. And not just into any office, into a very strategic and powerful office of the Principal Private Secretary to the Governor. And I had to obviously quickly learn and whatnot. But now I go around sharing my story so that other young people are inspired and said, if this guy, the guy they called Ajebota, the guy they said could not make it in Ibadan politics, if this same guy has done 12, 13 years in that system, I'm sure I can.
Wow.
And so that's the, so we change values, then you start creating all these models and mentorship and whatnot, and then more young people feel it is right. The other thing that I think we have started to see, even though it's still at the early stages, is the Not Too Young to Run movement that became a bill, that became a law.
Yeah.
And we know now that, one of my former classmates, Asuku Ekpeyon, is a senator of the Federal Republic. I presume he's probably 39, 40, about that age. And he's a senator, Those were not usual things under, So you're starting to see increase in numbers, and the more young people see someone like him as well, they start to say it's possible. In the House of Reps too, the younger people, we're having younger lawmakers. We're having it in the assemblies as well. So what we're saying in essence is that yes, the culture has crept in, like culture creeps into everything. And the only way to change culture for me is infuse new values, and those values will become new thinking, new knowledge, new emotions, new beliefs, new actions, which will now create new culture. So that's one way. We must use things like policy regulation, which the bill and law has also empowered, but we must also create mentoring. We must also create knowledge sharing so that the young people too, because if you want to run for office, you don't just wake up and say you want to run for office. There's a skill to it. There's a learning you have to go through. All the courses we're doing at AGID is so that we can skill people up. And then even when you get to office, how do you ensure you don't fall, you don't fail, you don't become victim to the system, you don't, go in a way whereby the culture or the way the setup is crushes you, or you get frustrated, or you get pushed out. So all of these things are also required if we're going to see that shift, and that's part of the gap we are covering to ensure that there is an institute sharing knowledge, sharing experiences from practitioners, so that people that want to go into that space go well prepared and they have a higher chance of succeeding.
Wow.